You ever wake up on a Monday thinking, right, this is it. This is the week I get my shit together. This is the week I'm going to start running or eat more veggies, start meditating, whatever new habits you're trying to build. And so you've got your workouts planned, your overnight protein oats prepped in one of those cute little mason jars. I don't do that. Maybe your shiny new trainers are by the door. Whatever it is, you're ready to go. Maybe you stick to it for a few days or even a couple of weeks, but then somehow you're back in your old routine, wondering what happened to all of that motivation. Worse, you might even start blaming yourself, like, oh, why do I have zero willpower? But here's the thing. The problem isn't willpower. The problem is not discipline either. It's how you've designed your habits. And most of us, we're designing our habits the wrong way. So today, I want to show you a better way, the tiny habits way, the science-backed, realistic way to build change that actually lasts, that you can actually stick to. Sounds good? Awesome. Let's dive in.
Hey, I'm Noemi, former queen of bad habits and corporate go-getter turned well-being coach and personal growth junkie. And in a world full of overwhelming wellness advice, we're here to cut through the noise. This is your space to master healthy habits, transform your mindset, own your well-being, and design a life you love on your terms. We're ditching the highlight reels and embracing the whole messy, imperfect journey towards becoming our absolute best selves. You're the author of your own story. So are you ready to write the next chapter? Let's go, and welcome to Unwritten Potential.
So we've been sold this idea that big change is all about motivation, that if you just want it badly enough, somehow you will make it happen. You need discipline and grit. But that's not how real lasting habits are built. Motivation might help you start, but it's usually not enough to keep you going. It's not motivation that matters most when implementing new habits. It's design. You need to design your new habits. And tiny habits are a great blueprint to help us better design our habits. Because tiny habits are easy to start, they're effortless to repeat, and they're built to survive even the hardest, messiest of days. So whether you want to move your body more, drink more water, meditate, run, write, this episode is your permission slip to start tiny and go big later. So let's look at what actually makes habits stick. First, remember this. Motivation is a state. It is not a strategy. Motivation feels amazing. It's the kind of new year, new me energy. But motivation comes and goes. It fizzles out. It's short-lived. It rarely lasts. So BJ Fogg, who is the founder of the Behavior Design Lab at Stanford and has done extensive research on behavior design and habits, says that in order for behavior to happen, three things need to come together, okay? For any behavior, we need three things to come together at the same time. We need motivation, we need ability, and we need a prompt. Motivation, ability, and a prompt to come at the same time. So think of it like this. Motivation, that's your desire level. So some days you really want to go for a run, you're feeling good, your energy is high, and other days, even the thought of lacing your shoes just feels like too much, right? And we all have those days. That's motivation. Your ability is how easy or hard something is to do. So taking your multivitamin in the morning, if it's right next to your coffee machine, that's going to be super easy, right? But driving across town for a 6 a.m. yoga class where you don't even own yoga pants, that's not so easy. So that's your ability, how hard or easy something is to do. And then a prompt, well, the prompt is your reminder. So that could be a phone alarm, that could be your journal sitting on your desk, or sometimes it can also be finishing another routine, like making your morning coffee or closing your laptop at the end of your workday. So yes, motivation is one element of behavior, but it's not the only element. And so if motivation is super high, like often in January, your ability can be low and the habit will still happen. And that's why you can ride the wave of a New Year resolution for a little bit, even if the habit is totally new to you, because your ability might be low, but the motivation is super high. So the habit still happens. But here's the key, and this is what most people miss. The reverse is also true. If something is really easy to do, like stupidly easy to do, your motivation can be low and the habit still happens. That's why ability matters so much. If your habit is small, simple, doable, it doesn't rely on motivation. And that, my friends, is the real game changer. So let's talk about ability. And here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Would I still do this if I had zero motivation? Would I still do this if I had just 5 minutes? Would I still do this on my worst day? So not when you're inspired, not when you're feeling super pumped, but when you're tired, distracted, busy, not in the mood. Would I still do this if I had zero motivation? Because that's when most habits fall apart. The smaller and simpler the habit, the easier it is to follow through, even on your worst days. And the easier it feels, the less resistance you'll face. So you want your habit to feel like the obvious next step, not a mountain to climb, because the goal here is repetition. But it's not just repetition that makes a habit stick. It's also emotion. Emotion helps us wire the habit. You can do something 50 times, but if you still dread it, that's not a habit. It's a chore. But if you do something once and it feels good, your brain immediately goes, yes, let's do that again, please. That's emotion at work, specifically dopamine. It's your brain's way of saying, this is super rewarding, please keep it up. That's why you want to make your new habits as easy as possible, getting that positive reinforcement, and that will help you keep going. You want to be celebrating your tiny wins. That really matters, and it can be super awkward and maybe a bit cheesy, but that's neuroscience at work. So when you feel even a small spark of pride or joy after doing your habit, your brain remembers, and that feeling helps lock the behavior in. So you want to be doing a little celebration, a little dance, a little yay. This is where the tiny habits method comes in, and it's beautifully simple. BJ Fogg calls it the ABC formula. A stands for anchor, B stands for behavior, so that's your new habit, and C stands for celebrate. Let's break it down. So A for anchor. So that's our prompt, right? You start by anchoring your new habit to something you're already doing, something that's automatic. So it could be after I start the coffee machine, I'll fill up my water bottle if you're trying to drink more water during the day. After I brush my teeth, I will do 2 squats, only 2. After I close my laptop at the end of the workday, I will take 1 deep, meaningful breath. Your existing routine becomes the built-in reminder. And the more specific and consistent the anchor, the more easily your brain forms the new connection. All right, B is for behavior. So that is our habit, our new habit. This is where most people go too big, right? We've never run before, but out of nowhere, we're going to go and run for a 5K. And tiny habits work because they are tiny. They're not impressive. They're not extreme. They are stupidly, ridiculously tiny, but they're also doable. So 1 push-up, 1 deep breath, 1 sentence in the journal, 1 spinach leaf on your plate. I know it might feel a bit silly, But that's the point. It's designed to work even on your worst day. And when it feels easy, you're more likely to repeat it. And repetition is what builds consistency. C is for celebrate. Lock that in with positive emotion immediately after doing your tiny habit. Celebrate. That could be a smile, a little fist bump, a little yay to yourself. If you've ever worked out with me, you know that at the end of my workouts, I usually do a little yay. And why? Because that emotional uplift releases the dopamine. It tells your brain, this really matters. This was fun. I enjoyed this. Let's do it again. So even if it feels awkward or stupid or small, please do it anyway. Do it in your head, but do it anyway. That's what wires the habit in. So to recap, A, B, C, anchor, behavior, celebrate. Simple, effective, but super sustainable. And if you've been struggling with consistency, it's probably not because you're lazy or undisciplined or unmotivated. It's because the habit you chose was too big, too vague, or maybe not anchored to anything solid. So start smaller, anchor it, and celebrate it. That's how you build habits that last. Let's wrap this up. Lasting change doesn't have to come from big, dramatic overhauls. It can come from small actions, repeated consistently, especially when they're built with care and not pressure. Start with one anchor, one small behavior, one honest moment of follow through, and let that be enough. Because every time you follow through, even in a tiny way, you're building trust with yourself, and that creates the real momentum. If you're ready to put this into action, I've created a habit reset kit. It will help you implement habits without guilt, without grind, and without guesswork. I will put the link in the show notes. It's completely free. I will put the link in the description, and you can also check it out at unwritten.coach/habit reset kit. All in one word and all in little letters. And if this episode helped you, screenshot it and tag me at unwritten.coach. I'm on Instagram. I would love to see your tiny wins. If you're still here, thank you so much for listening. And I hope you didn't get too distracted by my slightly nasal voice today. I'm a little under the weather, but despite this, I hope you find it helpful. And I will see you next week. Bye.